What's up, awesome YouTubers? Ryan1988 or Justin back here to do another video for you all, and today I'm here to review another Nightmare on Elm Street movie in my countdown to Halloween videos, and this time we're talking about Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, which I'm reviewing because of this 4K set that came out at the end of last month, and I've been reviewing all of the movies along September and October. So if you haven't seen any of those reviews, they are up on my channel, so please go check them out. Give them a like, comment, let me know what your favorite Nightmare movies are or what you think of each one of these movies. So I did review the original Nightmare on Elm Street about 2 months ago, so you can check that out, but I have been reviewing the sequels because this is the first time we're getting them on 4K, and it's been a real treat to watch these movies. So Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare came out in 1991, and it was supposed to be the last Nightmare on Elm Street. This was going to wrap up Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. It was directed by Rachel Talalay, hopefully I'm saying that right, who had been, I believe, producer on a good majority of the Nightmare movies. This was going to be the first time she was going to direct a Nightmare movie, and I believe this was her directorial debut. Again, could be wrong on that. But yeah, she wanted to direct the final movie, and you know, I think she deserved it just because she had been a part of this franchise for so long at this point. So it was great to give somebody the director's chair who had been a part of the series and, you know, worked with Robert and just knew the character Freddy Krueger. So really awesome that she got to direct this movie. Freddy's Dead, again, is or was supposed to be the final Nightmare movie, and in the town of Springwood, all of the children are now gone. None of them exist, and it's because of Freddy Krueger. And there is one last child who is now a teenager who is from Springwood, who is trying to escape Freddy Krueger. And is he or is he not his son? Because you find out in this movie that Freddy Krueger actually had a child. And that is revealed kind of midway into the movie. Also in this movie, you're introduced to a character by the name, or the actress's name is Lisa Zane, but you're introduced to her character, and she is a doctor or counselor who takes care of teenagers in a home, and these are teenagers that either don't have family or teenagers that are in trouble, and so they're sent to this place, and she, you know, comes across our main character. He's sent to this home, and she slowly starts finding out more things about Freddy because of this guy, and she, along with this guy, go to Springwood, and they want to figure out who Freddy Krueger was, why are these kids gone in the town of Springwood, and just what's going on into the town now, or what's happening in the town now. Along the way, you're also introduced to a couple other teenagers who are in this home, and one by one, they are being terrorized by Freddy Krueger. And the final people in this movie have to try to stop Freddy and finish him for good, and hopefully kill him, making Freddy dead. So I tried to be a little tongue-in-cheek there. So this movie, for me, is a film that I have always bounced back and forth on. I don't love this movie. I think the premise is cool, and I know there was a lot of, you know, a lot of love that was going into this movie, especially like in the beginning of the film. But I think that overall the movie is just not the greatest. It's the worst definitely in the franchise for me. However, rewatching it, it's not the terrible movie that I thought it was. I certainly don't love it. I certainly don't think this is a great movie, but I found myself to be very entertained by this movie. Like, there was not a point in this movie that I was bored with it. There are moments that I definitely cringe, and I think, you know, we've kind of, at this time, we're really, like, on the totem pole of these nightmare movies. You know, Freddy, you know, his trademark comedic tone was very popular for a while, you know, with, you know, 3, 4, and, you know, slowly getting out of 5, but then you got to Freddy's Dead, and the humor at times works, and at other times doesn't work. I think that's one of the things that kills this movie for me, is like, again, it's not a completely terrible movie, it's not a great movie, it's, I would put it in a category of so bad it's good films, because again, one, the humor is just too much in this. Any scares that you had from Freddy early on are completely gone in this movie. The kills in this movie, while some I find to be fun and amusing to watch, I find are the worst of the series. You know, we were getting away from what we loved about the Nightmare movies and the creative kills, and here you just had pure camp and cheese, and some of it worked and some of it did not. I think it's Britton Meyer who would go on to be in Clueless. I think he has probably the most fun kill in this movie. Very out there, but a pretty fun, hokey kill involving, you know, video games and Freddy Krueger having, you know, the power glove, let's lock gloves, and that I find to be very entertaining. The premise, again, would have been really cool if the movie would have been better. I like the idea of Springwood now having just adults in it. All the children are gone because of Freddy Krueger. And when, you know, these group of teenagers come into this town, the town is freaked out because they don't want Freddy to come back. And because these kids are back, they are worried that Freddy is going to come back and wreak havoc. So stuff like that is cool. The premise is cool. I just think that overall, the execution just was not what they were hoping for. And I think the movie is just very hokey, very cheesy, and it doesn't work all the time. Again, some of the kills are fun and creative. They're definitely not as good as some of the previous movies' kills. There's a couple moments in this that I just think, why did they go this direction? Like, at one point, Freddy's riding on a broomstick and it's paying homage to The Wizard of Oz. And even now, when I was watching it, I was like, you know, we've kind of taken this character and went too far almost, because we lost all the scares that we had early on in this franchise. And even the humor just wasn't working then. Some of the pros, I love Robert Englund. I always will love him in these movies, no matter if the movies are good or not, or some are better than others. I will always love his performance, and he does a great job in this. And even with the not so great script and some of the cheesiness about this movie that just doesn't work, one of the highlights of this movie still is watching Robert Englund on screen, and I think he did a great job. I think Lisa Zane, our main actress in this movie, does a good job. I think the overall cast is fine. The lead guy in this movie, not the greatest actor. He wasn't somebody that like I would like deeply connect with. You know, no diss to the actor. Well, yeah, just not the greatest actor. What am I saying? Good guy. You know, watching the Never Sleep Again documentary, like, he's a good guy, great guy, watching his interview, but he just wasn't very good in this movie. You know, I had a hard time attaching myself to that character. So, you know, if you've never seen the movie before, there's kind of a nice mid-twist in the film. that you won't see coming unless you have seen this movie or have seen spoilers with the film. But yeah, so A Nightmare on Elm Street, or Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. It's really hard for me to talk about this movie too much because I don't love this movie, and the only like big pro I could say about this movie is that it is entertaining to watch. It was one of the early days of 3D. You have the final act where you put on the 3D glasses, and that's connected somehow into the movie, which now when I watch it, I still don't think... I think they could have gotten away with not using the 3D aspect and just had, that third act just being 2D, which when I watched this movie, that's how I watched it. I just watched it in 2D. I didn't even watch it in the 3D because you get the, classic red and blue 3D glasses. And for me, I have a hard time watching 3D films. So I didn't watch it in 3D, but it was still very nostalgic to have the 3D glasses. And you do get that option there. Again, pros. Freddy's great in this. I think Robert Englund will always be good in this role. And, there's the classic, line, let's lock gloves. And I think he's good in the film. And I liked having a little bit of a backstory with Freddy Krueger. Like, before he became Freddy, you find out, about his life and everything that he had went through and the troubled, child and teenager and person he was. So that's kind of neat to have that. Again, performances overall are good. They're not great, but they're good. I like Lisa Lane. I liked Lisa Zane in this movie. I think she did a good job. The third act with her is good. But yeah, just not my favorite. Not completely terrible like I remember it being. It is how I would sum this movie up as a good, fun popcorn flick. Or just a fun popcorn flick. There's good aspects to it, but it's not one of my favorites, and I would only watch this movie with the franchise. I can't see myself watching this one by itself because it's not one of the strong movies in the franchise, and it's definitely my least favorite of the bunch. But for the longest time, I hated this movie. I didn't get this movie, did not like this movie. I would say now it is entertaining enough to, when you're watching the franchise, it's not like a complete waste. Like, you could sit down and watch this movie and still find some of it to be very entertaining, but it is without a doubt a very flawed movie too. So, but that is going to be my review on Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to give you my thoughts rewatching it. As far as the 4K goes, like with the rest, I think Warner Brothers just knocked it out of the park with the picture and sound quality. It sounds and looks great. I was very impressed with that. And again, it was very enjoyable rewatching the movie because it had been maybe 4 years since I'd seen the film. So I will definitely watch the movie when I watch the franchise. I won't skip it. I will watch it and be entertained, but definitely not love it. And it's definitely not a great movie, in my opinion. It's fun. It is what it is. The series was definitely losing its magic when this movie came out, and 3 years later, we would get, in my opinion, the best of the bunch, and that is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So you'll hear my review on that. With this release, you do get, again, the 3D glasses, which I'll show you what they look like. And in the third act, you can watch the movie with the 3D glasses. I think you just get one pair, though, so, if you don't have other 3D glasses and people are watching it with you, you might as well watch it in 2D. I wish they would have gave you like 2 pairs, because in the DVD box set you do have those. So if you do have those 3D glasses, you can watch it with this. So have some friends over, watch Freddy's Dead, and again, just have a good time with the movie. For me, at least, I don't love the film. I don't think the movie's great at all. I think the movie is very flawed, but I find myself to be entertained by it. You know, you have those bad movies that are entertaining still, that when you sit down and watch them, you're not like dreading it the whole time. So, you know, that's what Freddy's Dead is for me. So, but that is going to be my review on the movie. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think of Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, down below. And we will wrap this film series up with Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is one of my personal favorite, well, it is my personal favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So I hope you're all doing well. As always, you're all awesome, you all rock. And with a positive out for the negative. And I'll talk to you later. And much love to you all. Bye.